Hello, sorry about that. My video stopped recording. So, if you've accidentally clicked on this link first, there is an earlier version. Please watch that before you watch the rest of this video, if you haven't already. Okay, so I've just said we need to put our protractor on the end of the line and read round to 60 and draw a little dot. And then I'm going to join up the end of the line to through this point here. Now, for now, I don't actually need to worry about that 8 centimetres. You'll see why in a minute. And I need to label that angle as 60 degrees. Now again, I'm going to do exactly the same from this point here. And again, it needs to be 60 degrees. Now this time, have a think about whether I'm going to use the inside or the outside numbers. And you should realise that I'm going to use the outside numbers here, the bigger ones. Because as I go around here, we think about it, as I move this, as I make the angle bigger, I'm going in this direction, so therefore the angle has to get bigger, which means the numbers have to get bigger. So if I go this way, I have to use these numbers because they're the ones getting bigger, not these ones. So again, I'm going to go around to 60, draw a little dot, and join it up so it goes through the point that I've just drawn. And again, I'm going to label my angle 60 degrees. Now, the reason why I didn't have to worry about the lengths of these lines is because it's an equilateral triangle. And therefore, if I measure from where those two lines cross to that point there, you will see it's exactly 8 centimetres. And again, if I do exactly the same thing here, you'll see again it's 8 centimetres. So it's because I've drawn an equilateral triangle. Now again, if these two weren't 60 degrees, then it would still work. So let's say that was 50 and that was 40, and I drew my lines where they crossed would make the triangle. But I should also label my other two sides, because I know what they are. And move them around. Okay. Alright, question 3 then. Square base pyramid, where it says think of a square base pyramid. Now if you can't visualise it, why don't we think about either what the net of one looks like. So square base pyramid, that means the base is a square. Now I'm going to do a bit of a rough drawing here. Actually, that's maybe a little bit too big. That's my base. Now a pyramid, remember, has triangular side faces. Not the best drawing, but it'll do the job. So, remember that's the net, so that's 2D. The square base pyramid will be as it comes together. So how many faces does it have? Well, remember a face is, in this case, the square and the 4 triangles. So it has 5 faces. Now an edge is where 2 faces meet. Now if you imagine this is folded up, this one and this one here will meet. So that's 1. This one, this and this will meet. That's 2. This one and this one 3. This one 4. But don't get the 4 at the bottom. 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 edges. Now vertices are corners, or more technically where two edges meet. So if we think about it, there's going to be, imagine a pyramid, there's going to be the point right at the top, and the four corners, or the four vertices, at each of the corner of the base. So therefore it has 5 vertices. If you find it hard to visualise one, by all means go on to Google and search square base pyramid. Make sure you do include square based, because you can get a triangular base pyramid, and that means these will be different. But if you find it difficult to visualise, by all means just try and search for one. Okay, last one that I'm going to go through. So draw the net of a cube with side length 3 centimeters. Well, we know for a cube, all bases have the same area. And all of the faces are squares. All right. So part A. Now this one I am going to try and do with a ruler. So let's think of the base. Alright, there's my square base. Now, we should know that a cube has 6 faces. So that's going to be, actually I'll label them all. So that's going to be the base. That, imagine if we folded it up, is going to be the back. If we look at that bit, so imagine it's folding upwards. That's going to be the front. So we've got front and the back and the bottom. Now, that bit there, if I folded it up, that's going to be the left side. Which means I must have a right side as well. And the only thing that we've got left is the top. Now, I'm going to draw that here. Okay. Now I must stress that this is not the only correct answer for part A. This is the way that I always draw a net of a cube, but there are other other options. So for instance, you could put that top there, there, or there. Okay. So, like I say, when you look at the answers, there are other options for this. Now, we know that these are all squares. And remember, if you remember from the last video that I did, all to do with the surface area, you know the surface area of a shape is the area of all of the faces added up. Well, here we know all of the faces are the same, or they have the same area. So these are all squares. You wouldn't have to include this on your diagram, but I'm just doing it to show you. And if we read the question, each side has a length of 3 centimeters, so that's 3 centimeters, and this here is 3 centimeters. So the area of one face is 3 times 3, which is 9. So the total surface area is that area, 9, times by 6, because there's 6 faces, and they're all the same, which is 54. Now don't forget unit, it's an area, so therefore it is centimetres squared. And lastly, we're asked to calculate volume. Now, you should have watched the previous video on volume, but if you haven't, I'll just remind you. We said the length of a cube, or a cuboid, is length times width times height. Okay. It's always good practice to state any formula you use. Now, here, our volume, the length is going to be 3. The width is going to be 3, and the height is also going to be 3. So therefore the volume, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Volume is centimetres cubed. So therefore our volume of a cube with each side of 3 centimetres is 27 centimetres cubed. So, that's it. Hopefully that's helped you, or at the very least given you a couple of the answers to a couple of the questions. You should now be able to complete all 7 questions. You may need to go back and have a look at a couple of the other videos, that's absolutely fine, but good luck.